Hello everyone, I am Tom, and since this coronavirus disruption started, I've been hosting this vlog to eat beef jerky and connect across the internet. The beef jerky part is silly and pointless. I'm not a food critic, but this vlog has let me explore some fun videos and have discussions about cool programming and game design ideas. And I plan to keep doing it. So today is the 1st of September, if you can believe it. Wow. September 2020. I've been doing this vlog as kind of a record of 2020, and here we are, 2 months from the election, and still very unsettled America, packed full of COVID, and people who don't believe it's packed full of COVID. Very unhappy time generally. I personally am doing well, but I was always kind of an introvert, willing to stay in and program on my computer. But I think that the psychic damage of this plague cannot be understated, and it's just another aspect of how crappy 2020 is. But I'm not here to bring you down. I'm here to add a little levity with a silly video about jerky and video games. And this will be the 44th jerky video, by the way. And this is what I want to talk to you about. Last time we talked about a game genre, a lesser-known game genre, and I want to continue that process by talking about programming games. So programming games actually have a very long history. Way back in the ancient days of my progenitors, there is no progenitor, okay, so, but anyways, way back in the day. I programmed a little bit on a little game called CRobots, and CRobots was, one of the first. It was a very simple game where you had a little robot and you wrote a little program to tell it which direction to go in and which direction to shoot its gun in, and hopefully it would kill the other robot programmed by the opponent. And things have come a long way since then. Not that they've come a long way, to in the big picture. We are talking about a lesser-known genre here. But specifically, I'd like to talk about how in modern times, one company, one indie developer has essentially taken the torch and kept it burning bright. And that's a company called Zachtronics. A guy in Eastern Europe called Zach, I think, has been making a series of games, all of which you see here on the screen. And the thing about these games is they're programming and systems games. They are, to one degree or another, about programming. And many of them literally have a text editor built in, so you can type in your programming and then run it and see if it gets the proper result. He's got a little bit of everything, though he focuses more on kind of teaching the basics of programming with very simple, low-level programming languages, kind of like machine language. And I don't think that he's done a lot of apps that really have kind of a high-level language. But that's okay. I mean, it's fascinating, his games and how they work and what they do. I have played several of his games, and I think several of them are actually really good training for programming. So if you can play the games and enjoy them, and play them all the way to the end, then you might as well be a programmer. You might as well go get a job as a programmer. I feel it's more complicated than that, but not really, because that's how it is. I'm not saying that Zachtronics is the only game in town when it comes to games that ask you to program your way to victory. But again, right now, he's very much the leader of the pack. He's very much the standard bearer. Zachtronics. Games like Exapunks, Shenzhen.io, TIS-100, Opus Magnum, Infinifactory, all very cool, very creative games. And very much not for everybody. Not everybody programs or wants to program. but it's an interesting, lesser-known genre that I wanted to share with you. So, yeah, that is good to talk about, but hey, we're here for the main event, aren't we? And last time I promised you we would go through this variety pack of Think Jerky brand stuff. And here we have the original, which maybe I should have led with, but let's give a try with the Beef Jerky Classic. Classic, it says on it. Open it up. Smells like beef jerky. Here's a piece. So far, so normal. Yeah. It's a little bit sweeter than some classic or normal or standard beef jerkies that I've tasted. And it's not cut as thick as some beef jerkies, but it's perfectly acceptable. Not too dry, not too tough, not too wet or gooey, just absolutely middle of the road. Probably a little bit more interesting a flavor, certainly not hot in any way, but a more interesting flavor than your typical Jack Link's beef jerky. Obviously doesn't hold a candle to the to some of the other jerkies that I've had in the past that have really been flavorful and bold. But you know, it just is completely the original Think Jerky Classic. I'm gonna say is about as middle of the road milk toast as you get. Neither bad nor good. All right, let's crack open the old mailbag, because last time I posted, I actually got a couple of very thoughtful responses on YouTube, and I want to go over them with you. First off, Adam Para, thank you, Adam. You're always reliable, and I appreciate you communicating. He says, thanks for making a video. Thank you. Have you played XCOM? Yes, I have. I've been playing the modern ones. Me too. They have an RPG feel to them. Absolutely. Since it's turn-based, it feels like a minis game as well. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely turn-based, grid-based. Turn-based, grid-based, squad-level combat is absolutely nothing new. But way back in the ancient days of, I guess, 2003 was when I played it. Was when I played the original XCOM. No, not 2003. What am I thinking? 1993 was when I originally played the original XCOM, made by the Gallant brothers out of Britain. And they were not the first people to make a squad-level, turn-based, cell-based, which means you move in discrete steps from square to square, kind of like chess. But they weren't the first people to make that kind of game. But they really innovated in some amazing ways. And the first way they innovated was having a tactical battle game and a strategic world map that were profoundly important to each other. So what you did on the big globe, you know, in terms of the globe spinning and picking, oh, here's where I put my base, and oh, there's an enemy base over here, I'm going to go attack it in the nighttime. And then it would switch to the tactical view, and you get a night battle, and it's an enemy base. And that's just the start. I mean, that's what the Gallant brothers brought to the equation, and it's my understanding from what I read that they worked hard to do that, and it wasn't necessarily, you know, they really had a stretch to do it, but it took me and my friends and the gaming world by storm. It was such a fascinating, open-ended, complex, turn-based tactical game. I've played pretty much all the XCOMs. In the 2000s, I think the XCOM brand really got weirdly watered down, and they did strange things with it. And of course, got way away from the turn-based tactical battle, which is the point, I think. But the new versions that are out on Steam, there's several of them and several add-ons and downloads for them. They're all good. They're all well worth playing, and there's some mods out there by people, by fans. One in particular called the Long War, which basically just stretches out the gameplay so that you don't play, you know, 40 missions, you play 400 missions, or something like that. I haven't played it myself, but there's a lot of growth and replayability in the new XCOM games. And then on top of that, Julian Gollop went back and he's just come out recently with a new game to rival XCOM, brand new IP, brand new world, brand new everything, but it's still XCOM for all intents and purposes. And it's good. I enjoyed it. I played it a while. I want to go back to it now that he's coming out with more DLC for it. So, yeah, I played XCOM, and all the XCOMs, I agree they're awesome. I agree that they have an RPG feel, and they're very enjoyable. I wonder if they're the kind of lesser-known genre that I would talk about in this segment. I'll think about it. Also, Jim Vineski, thank you, Jim, for replying on YouTube. Jim points out that the first-person grid-based RPG that we talked about in the last video, he says lesser-known genre, maybe as far as the modern gamer is concerned, but he points out that these dungeon crawlers, as he calls them, were extremely well known in the past. And he points out that I didn't mention a huge father of that genre called Dungeon Master for the Amiga and the Atari ST. I agree, Dungeon Master blew us away when we saw it in the very late 80s. And he points out that Dungeons of Daggerath was on the Radio Shack Coco back in 1982. I didn't get a chance to play that, but I believe it. I believe that it's part of the genre. Of course, you know, there's a fuzziness about the real-time versus turn-based when it comes to first-person grid-based RPGs. I would say Dungeon Master was definitely real-time, and so is a lot of others that are more modern. And I'm not sure if Dungeons of Daggerath was, but you know, it could be. Yeah, you're right, Jim. The genre may seem like a minor genre to most modern young gamers. The people playing Fortnite, they would have never have seen it. But that doesn't mean it wasn't very important to a whole generation. I agree with you. I'm not trying to say that any of these lesser-known genres are less important. Only that I think that, you know, things like first-person shooters and RTSs, you know, I want to look at other more interesting genres than just the big few. All right, so thank you for being for watching this video, and please comment if you have anything to say about programming games that let you or make you program to win. We tried some Think Jerky Classic, and it was profoundly middle of the road. So great. Let's do another flavor next time. Thanks for watching.